Hey everybody, it's Anna Woods. I'm coming live to you again this week. I'm down here at Queen Bee Marketing, and this week you're gonna get to just hear from me for a change. I've had a lot of questions recently about my journey to SheSTRENGTH, why strength training is so important to me, kind of what motivates me to work out when it's cold in my barn or just on a consistent basis. So basically I'm here to chat with you. I want to also field questions from you, so if you have any questions throughout this call, comment below and I will try to answer those. If I don't, I will comment after the video is over. So make sure and let me know what questions you have about fitness, nutrition, entrepreneurship, balancing motherhood, and those sorts of things. I will try to answer the best that I can. But it's hard to kind of talk about the different elements that have contributed to this program called SheSTRENGTH for me. But if I had to think back on kind of the early stages of forming my love for strength training and how empowering it was for me, there's about 4 different times in my life that I can recall being really transformed by the power of strength training. The first was in high school. I was an athlete, always been an athlete, played sports, 3 sports in high school, and my junior year, Coach Robin came to our school. He was a new football coach, and he implemented a strength training program the summer of my junior year. And I started going 4 mornings a week to strength training with football players and a few other of us girls that were training for volleyball at the time. And we did weights, we did agilities, we did track workouts, we did a lot of mobility stretching, a lot of coordination and accuracy, things that I had never done before that weren't necessarily sport specific. Like I'd always trained softball for softball, running for running, volleyball for volleyball, but this was just general athleticism. And I fell in love with that feeling of being strong. I remember by the end of the summer, I was able to bench press 100 pounds, which was a huge deal for me at the time. I remember being able to squat with a bar and being able to keep my feet flat on the ground and like being able to have conversations about squatting and bench press and actually knowing what I was talking about at that point in time. And I remember I showed up to volleyball tryouts my junior year and I was just a totally different person. I could jump higher. I was running faster than I ever had before. I had dropped to like 12 pounds and my body fat percentage had dropped, and I just was a totally different person, and mentally and physically. So that was one of the first life-changing elements of strength training for me. I ended up going on to college. I was a college major in communications and graphic design. I loved art. I did a lot of painting and drawing, using my creative mind a lot. But once I got to college, I got my associate's degree in graphic design and business marketing. And then I played softball for 2 years. And then after that, I actually tore my ACL my last year playing college softball. And I really had to change my approach to working out. I started doing a lot of physical therapy, and I started realizing the benefit of self-care through corrective exercise and learning that I tore my knee. And so I was gonna have to learn how to squat better and more safely and learn the cues and tips for how to do that. And I wouldn't be able to run as much because I loved running. It was how I kept my weight off. It was how I stayed thin during the college years. And that was a transforming point for me as well, because I had to learn to change and I had to learn better at lifting weights. And then my junior year, I went to a conference with Dr. Miriam Nelson called Strong Women. And her whole weekend training, I went with my mom actually, because she was studying for her physical therapy license, and so she dragged me along, and I went, and it was life-changing for me because that was when I was first introduced to the power of strength training for the older adult. And at that exact moment is when I fell in love with training special populations and elderly folks. I remember just having my mind blown at that conference, learning about the women that doing strength training 3 days a week were able to get out of their wheelchairs, were able to transfer themselves from their wheelchairs to their bed. They were able to get rid of their canes. They were able to walk up and down stairs. And for me, that was a physical development, mind-blowing opportunity, but also one that helped me realize that getting older doesn't have to just mean you resolve to being weak and frail. There was just something that changed in my mind that helped me realize, man, strength training is empowering physically, but there's this whole confidence, mindset boost of independence that evokes within you from strength training. And I don't think it's something you can hear someone talk about, it's something you have to experience. And so I immediately went back to my college, changed my degree to exercise science, got my personal training certification, and I worked in a physical therapy office during the daytime. I personal trained in the morning and the evenings, and then I worked at the newspaper on night shift. During college, trying to get my hands on as much training opportunities as I could, I developed several programs at our college university for the elderly to come in and do chair aerobics, to learn strength training, and I applied that to my personal training clients as well. So that was probably one of the third biggest things that contributed to my love for strength training. And the last one would be I got into a lot of running because there was a group of runners at that college I was at, and we would train for half marathon and full marathons, and I got really, really thin and was just doing strength training as a resource for not being injured. And we actually moved to Kansas at that point, and we moved to a rural area, and I didn't have any friends. We moved to the middle of nowhere, basically. We lived out in the country, and I had one child, and we were trying for another child, and we had a really, really hard time getting pregnant with her, and part of the reason they were telling me was because I was running too much and exercising too much. So that was like a 3-year process of trying to have another kiddo, and in the meantime, we ended up adopting another child too. So I went from 1 child to 3 in the matter of a year, and we moved to a new place, and I lived where there was no exercise area, no type of programs. All I could do was run, but now I couldn't run because we couldn't get pregnant for one, and then we got pregnant, and now I was stuck at home with little ones, and living in a rural area, it's really hard to run with kids. So I remember looking online and finding this sport called CrossFit in Olympic lifting specifically. And I remember thinking, I think I want to try that. And so I researched a bunch of programs. I printed off some workouts. And I remember I went downstairs. I had my 2 little ones in their little bouncy seats staring at me while my oldest was napping. And I just started trying to mimic some of those workouts that I saw them do on those videos. And I remember thinking I was in pretty decent shape, and I remember I did a workout that was supposed to be 20 pull-ups, 30 push-ups, 40 squats, or 40 sit-ups, 50 squats. And you're supposed to rest 3 minutes and then repeat that again. And I thought, that's not gonna be hard, I'll be fine. Well, I could not get back up my stairs after that workout was over because I didn't even do it prescribed. I did band rows instead of pull-ups because I couldn't do a pull-up at that time. And I was dying. I thought, this is the hardest workout I have ever done, and I would have considered myself in good shape at that time. And I was hooked. So I just started researching more about the sport of Olympic lifting and the elements of functional fitness and some of the attributes of CrossFit and how that applies. And that was a game changer for me because here I was a new mom with 2 little ones stuck in the middle of nowhere, and I couldn't go running, and I felt like I had lost everything that I loved to do before. That was just for me because I had given so much of my time to my kids, and we had a son with special needs, and we had adopted him, and he had a lot of extra needs outside of that I had drained myself with, in addition to living in a place where I had no friends at the time. And that became my thing. I could build for myself and do for myself at home for 30 minutes to an hour a day. And I looked forward to that time every single day. And that's kind of where the whole premise of strength training and empowerment and mindset change shifted for me as well. So fast forward through that, I actually started working, helping start a gym in a local town that we lived in, or close to a local town we lived in. Started teaching CrossFit, started teaching weightlifting. At this point, I was getting pretty good at it and started competing, starting training for higher level training at that point to compete in a tri-state region. And through circumstances and young kids and my husband's job, I ended up leaving that position and had to go back to working out in my garage. And so I'd already had this love of strength training, and I've already been impacted by the power of strength training and the mindset and the confidence that comes from lifting weights and doing something just for yourself. And now this is where the part of the program in SheStrength comes from, the garage-based workouts, the home-based workouts. I had worked out at home before, but not to the extent that I was when I was at a gym. And now I needed to figure out how to bring that same element of intensity and motivation for me back to my garage. So we shifted our garage around. I had a barbell, we set some mats out, I got a few dumbbells, and I gradually started building my home gym at that point. And we had a garage in the back that we made space for it in. And I was able to still continue to train at a high level for these regional events from my garage. I had a Facebook community of other athletes that I was a part of who were doing a similar training program as me. I had a coach online who was sending me workouts each week. And this whole idea of being able to train at a high level from home started forming in my mind. Not even having any idea that it was going to turn into a full-time program and mission for me at some point, like where I am now, but I just learned the value of still being able to be a part of something with a group and struggling together with the group, and how that can be replicated online just like it was in the gym for me. So that's when the second part of SheStrength started coming together for me, was being able to train at a high level and still compete from home and still be a stay-at-home mom and be available for all of my kids' needs. And then the other part that came from that was kind of where the self-belief part came in. Because I used to think you can only be a high-level athlete if you train in a gym with the coach and a high-level program and other people pushing you. And having to go back to my garage and learn to train from home with people from all over the United States was just an eye-opener for me as far as self-belief. Like, every day I showed up in that garage, I was proving to myself that I could do it, and I didn't need other people to motivate me or inspire me to do it. I had it within me to do those things and to perform at a high level and to push myself every single day. And within that also came the idea of boundaries, which is another part of my mindset training. So in mindset and SheStrength, we talk about self-belief, giving yourself permission to take time for yourself every day, that we as moms shouldn't feel guilty about it, that we actually need that, and we become better moms and better athletes and better employees as a result of that. One of the things we talk about a lot is the whole thing with using the oxygen mask on an airplane. You have to oxygenate yourself before you can oxygenate everyone else around you. That's the protocol to follow, and that same mentality should be for us as women when setting boundary around our time at home. So the second step of the program is, I'm giving you permission to 30 minutes a day, 3 days a week. And my permission to you is, you know what? If you work out Monday and you work out Wednesday and you sleep in Friday, it's gonna be okay, because you still have 2 more days that week to get it in. So part of that boundary is also realizing it's not all or nothing. I think we get stuck in this belief that if I don't do it perfect, then I'm failing. So the third step in my program is redefining failure. Because if you're consistently showing up and trying to make an attempt the best you can at helping yourself every day, no matter what shape, form that is, you're still winning. There's only failure when you put a end point on it, or a definition of, I'm gonna work out till this date, or I'm gonna lose weight by this date. And what I try to help people understand is that this is a lifetime sport. Strength training is a lifetime sport. I have a 99-year-old client when I lived in Hillsborough that I strength trained with 3 days a week, who still wanted 6-pack abs at 99, just like my 25-year-olds did. And she was still doing the same type of workouts, just at a different level and intensity, all across the board, the same idea and concept. And so what I want people to know is that you have a whole lifetime on this journey. It's not a start and stop date. And the other part that comes in with that, and I think might touch on a little bit on one of the questions that I was asked about balancing motherhood and entrepreneurship, because the same concept applies to all of it. The same concept I apply to my strength training and my workouts and my coaching other people, and what I teach other people to do as well, applies in entrepreneurship, and that is communicating. So one of the other elements that we do with people is communicating these new things that you're doing. So in my program and in my app and in my training with me as a client, whether it's hands-on at my barn, whether it's online, it's all the same. We do self-belief, then we set boundaries around your time, around your purpose, your goals, and we clearly define those, and then we clearly communicate those. I think this is the element that a lot of people miss, is they get on a new goal, they get excited about it, they commit to it, and they don't tell anybody else about it, or they don't tell enough people about it. So one of the other things that I do is, you have to make sure and communicate that to your spouse or your mom or your close friends. Hey, this is the boundary I'm setting around my time. I need you to respect that. So for me personally, I set that time in my schedule, and I clearly communicate that with my children. During the school year, it's a little bit easier, but I usually get up at 5. I work out from 5 to 6:30. The kids know that's my time. If they get up before then they have other things that they can do. Otherwise, they just hang out in the room until I come get them up. In the summertime, we actually program mom's workout time in our daily schedule. So I'll say, hey, I'm gonna work out from 7 to 9 today. You guys get to play this iPad game. Only when mom works out, you get to play this iPad game. You get to watch this Netflix series when mom works out. You get to play outside and do these things during mom workout time. And mom workout time is the only time they get access to these things. And so it's the same thing with my entrepreneurship. I think communicating to them and helping them realize that I demand respect for this time from my spouse, from my kids, from my phone. I shut off all notifications. I'm demanding that boundary, and I'm communicating that boundary. And it's the same thing with entrepreneurship. If my kids are busy and doing something in the evening, I'm gonna say, hey, mom needs to go work for like 30 minutes, and then I'm all yours after that. And then I'll stay off my phone until they go to bed. Or I'll say, hey, I need you to do these 3 things while I go work. And it's the same thing with anything. You know, the friends that I work out with, hey, I'm working out from 1 to 3 today, or working on my business from 1 to 3 today. If you want to work out at 3:30, give me a call. And I think it comes with demanding that, communicating that, and then respecting that yourself, because we're usually the first to give up and give away our time easily. So that's the third element of my SheStrength and where that came from. And this is all from my own personal journey that this whole program has come to be. So I fell in love with strength training. I fell in love with home-based workouts. I personally experienced the mindset change, and I'm still working on that. And then the last thing is starting to realize that the need to share these things is really powerful. I was personal training a lot. I've had my own personal training business. Well, I've been personal training since 2003, but I've had my own business since 2007, and I've had hundreds and hundreds of clients. And I think one of the missing elements I realized in my personal training was that 6-pack abs don't make people happy. They make you feel good about yourself, and they make you look really awesome at the swimming pool, but they don't take care of that deep down need, which in a lot of times for women is shame. And so one of the things that we talk about a lot in our programs is sharing that. You know, once you experience these steps of strength training and the home-based workouts and the empowerment and the mindset, then it's your duty to share these things and reciprocate that with those around you. Because of all of my clients that didn't follow through on their programs or didn't continue, it had nothing to do with how hard the workouts were. It had nothing to do with not enough time. It had everything to do with their inability to believe that they could do it. It was so much more than a physical problem. It was a lot of personal motivation or shame or things internally that they were dealing with, and it had nothing to do with the physical aspect. And so that's where I kind of flipped my personal training business on end and made it my mission to redefine strength training, redefine fitness for women, using all these elements that I've discussed. And now that's my main purpose. I still talk to women every day that are like, I can't stick with the program. I'm burned out. I worked out 2 days last week and I can't motivate myself to do it again. And these are all the same things. And I usually have the same questions for them is, okay, did you set a boundary around your time? Okay, do you believe that you can get these results? Okay, have you communicated those results with those around you? Okay, so who do you have in a support community? Okay, so do you have a program to follow? Okay, so what are some of your personal goals? Okay, we go through all these things, but my first element with all these is getting to know what's truly the problem, what truly the struggle is. And 9 times out of 10, it has nothing to do with needing a workout program. It's their desires to change something within them outside of that. And so that's where this whole mission has come from for me, is sharing and growing it. Now I'm in the growth stage. I've done all the creative part of it. I've done all the work behind the scenes for the last 2 years. And now I'm at this point where I'm ready to share it, because I feel that there's so many women out there that need to hear this. And I feel like as a person in this industry, we have failed in communicating true fitness progress and what fitness can truly do for you. And it's about so much more than chasing a scale number. And I say this all the time. The shift for me mentally was when I quit chasing a scale number and running away from a scale number and started pursuing a skill or a strength. It's so much more motivating and empowering and exciting to pursue something new that you've never been able to do before than to wake up every morning and hope that you drop 0.2 pounds or 0.4 pounds. Or if you don't drop 0.4 pounds, letting it wreck your entire day or week and letting it affect everyone around you. But if I know, hey, this is gonna take me a year to learn how to do a pull-up, I'm gonna show up today and I'm gonna do these 3 things to work towards that. And by golly, when you get that pull-up, it is the most amazing feeling in the whole entire world. Out celebrates and out motivates you beyond any scale weight you can ever achieve. And those are the things that I want women to experience, and I want them to participate in and to feel, because it's not something I can tell you. I can talk on this video for 20 minutes, but if you don't experience it and feel it yourself, you just don't understand the full power of what I'm trying to say. So that's where I'm at now, is trying to share and encourage and redefine an industry, raise the bar in an industry, and help women realize there's better options out there. It's not always about vanity. It's not always about being skinny. It's not always about being heavier, because some people are pursuing to get heavier, but it's all about what you're personally wanting to achieve and finding it internally, pursuing from a place of confidence and self-belief, and not a place of running from shame and embarrassment. So where I'm at now with the program, I have an online app. I actually use it as a tool to train people with. So people pay a monthly subscription. They get a personal login to my app. Depending on where they're at in their abilities, they get access to certain parts of the programs. You get invited to my online Facebook community. You get to be involved with all the live speakers that I have speak on different topics every month. You get coaching from me. So people will either submit videos in the group for me to coach, or they'll private message them to me. I'll help coach you, correct you. We do all kinds of fun little challenges to keep you motivated. And we do a ton of self-belief and mindset training in there, because I truly believe that's the game changer. My goal with this app, I was just telling someone the other day, is for you to be confident enough to go to a weight room if you want to and work out, or to buy that barbell, or to need heavier weights, or to feel like you can help move your furniture on moving day. It's those strengthening things that to me mean the most, as opposed to seeing you weigh 10 pounds less. Those weight loss things occur as a result of pursuing these strength training things. Other options that I have to work with me, I work with people very specifically on holistic nutrition. We work on hormone balancing, detoxing, metabolism, and that's more of a one-on-one basis. I work with you directly. We work every week together. You get personal nutrition plan. We have supplements that we actually compound ourselves. I work with a doctor out of Kansas City on this program. That's another option that we work on. And then lastly, I actually host classes out at my house. I do 5 to 6 week courses at a time. You get access to the app. We're doing a button size series right now, so you can actually win a pair of jeans if you drop a jean size over the next 5 weeks. But I bring in experts, like I brought in several doctors and experts in the field to help train you in addition to me, because it's always nice to have other perspectives. But you'll get a hands-on aspect of that as far as working with me out at my barn. So I have people driving in from over an hour away to do these classes with me. I have a limited number of people in each class because I want to be able to be hands-on and work with you individually. Each 5-week session, we're working towards something specific. So this one right now, obviously we're doing a lot of butt and thigh stuff, so we're working on deadlift and squatting. And I have women that are doing that at home with dumbbells and a band, and I have women that are powerlifting 400 pounds with a barbell. But we're all working on the same type of thing, just different intensities and different strength training numbers. As far as my app goes, anyone can do it. I have people from all over the world, a part of my community, a part of my app, and a part of my movement and mission, because my goal with all of you is to get you to be to the point in my story where you're at number 4 and number 5. You're sharing and growing, and now you're a part of that mission and sharing it with others. So I don't know if there were any questions in there. Let me check real quick. Okay. Someone asked, what is next for me? That's a good question. Several things in the making I can't speak about yet, but a lot of exciting things coming ahead as far as expanding business. Had a lot of amazing opportunities coming up in the next year or so that I'll be excited to share with you soon. But for now, it's just continuing to be a better trainer, coach, and continuing to share my mission with those around you. I will also be launching a spring-summer apparel line, hopefully coming up soon, so be looking for that too. But that's a great question. As far as me personally, because I'm not sure which way that question is directed, I eventually would like to get back to competing personally myself. I'm kind of injured on the injured list right now, but I do still compete locally with Raven, who was on the show a couple weeks ago, at charity events and that sort of thing, because that's the next step in working on yourself, is then you get to go compete. And there's no better high than being able to prove 35, 36-year-old mom with 3 kids beating those 20-year-olds out there. So on a personal business level, that's my answer to those 2 things. So I don't know if there's any other things on there. I think that was it. But if you have any other questions, make sure and comment below the video. I will get back with you. But thank you guys for joining me today. I appreciate you hearing my story, and I love sharing it. So if you are interested in being a part of any part of my mission and what I'm doing, you can follow me on my Facebook page, which you're watching right now. I am also on Instagram at SheStrength, and my email is Anna, A-N-N-A, at SheStrength.com. So you can also email me there, and I'll get with you directly as well. So hope you guys are having a great day, and I'll see you soon. That's a lot of talking.